very complex. Batman is a very complex character, and you know he feels a lot, right? But it seems like a lot of writers like nowadays, really recently, like especially in like all like different like forms of media, they kind of like push him and portray him as this like super unemotional, super stoic, uncaring, unfeeling person, right? When we know that's not really the case, right? Because to even do what he does, to even like dress up as a bat and fight criminals because his parents died, like that takes a lot of like you have to really feel for that, you have to be a very emotional person to even want to do that, to dedicate your life to a mission like that after one horrible day. We know that. And I feel like my personal favorite example of him like, showcasing his various emotions are in this little 5 issue arc in Batman and Robin 2011. So I'll take you guys back 2025, right? 14 years ago, Damian Wayne is Robin, right? And he's dead. He died. Heretic, his clone, killed him. He's dead. Now, this isn't the first dead Robin in DC Comics. So Batman's he's kind of used to it, but this is his like biological son. Like Damian was 10, arguably, or he is the youngest Robin to die. So Batman feels some type of way, right? And in this 5 issue miniseries by or not miniseries but like five like issue little arc in the Batman Robin series written by Peter Tomasi, he actually like has Batman go through the 5 stages of grief, being denial, bargaining, anger, depression, and acceptance, like through each issue, and like a member of the Bat family like guides him through it, which I found to be really cool, and I wanted to talk to you guys about it. Now, all right, this video isn't scripted. Like this is like just like completely off like my memory. So I've got like little pauses, yada yada. It's my bad, but I'm not trying to script shit, and I just wanted to get this out because it's been like on my mind a lot. Anyways, back to what I was talking about. So, Batman and the 5 stages of grief. No, so Damien's dead, right? He's dead. He's not coming back. No magical resurrections are gonna save that little boy. He's stabbed in the chest, not breathing, dead. He's goner. So, the first issue is called Requiem, right? And what I love about this is it's an entirely silent issue. I mean, not a single, not a single piece of dialogue is even spoken in this comic. Oh, by the way, I'm not gonna be one of those guys that just like those comic YouTubers that just like basically like show you like every single panel and just kind of like, oh, and this panel this happens and this panel this happens. No, like like I want you to read the comic yourself. I just want to like talk about why I like it and the parts I like about it, so you could be like, wait, this is kind of cool. Why don't I go read for myself? And actually support the creator instead of just like getting your entire comic from me. Like that's not my job. My job is to just inform you of it so you can go buy it for yourself. Anyways, what I love about this issue is the entire issue. I already told you it's silent, but yeah, it's silent, right? So Damon just died, right? And it opens up, but Bruce is like, he's like, damn, he has this mad ass face, right? He's just upset. I mean, why would you be your own son died, right? He's like looking through the windows. He's just like he's looking through Damien's drawings. Damien, like he was finally getting developed, right? He was like he likes to draw, right? He's looking through his drawings. So I'm assuming, and he's just like, damn, Damien's dead, right? Alfred, he's crying. He's looking at the little like family portrait they had of Bruce, Alfred, Dick, Tim, and Damien. No Jason, because Jason was left out. I remember that issue actually. I want to talk about that one day. But like, yeah, Alfred's like he's crying. He's crying. Bruce sees him. It's just like a sad affair, right? It's basically like a day in the life of Batman if Damien is dead, right? And he's imagining like Damien there, right? Like when he's about to go down to the Batcave, like he sees like what would be him and Damien going down to the Batcave, and he's like, and then he snaps back into reality, and he's like, Damien's dead, he's gone, he's not there, right? And he's like, he just can't do it, right? He looks at the costume, he just can't do it. And then he's flying as Batman, right? And the whole time he's imagining Damien there, but then it'll cut to like him looking at something or like the real world, and like Damien's not there, right? No, he's dead. The entire issue is just him. It's just Batman doing Batman things while mourning Robin. He's just really sad, and by the end of the issue, now this is what really got me. Now I actually had to get like a screenshot of this so I could recite it. But by the end of the issue, he finds a little note Damon left him, right? And it reads, "Father, I'm sure you'll be angry with me for disobeying you again, but I don't care. I will not let you fight Leviathan alone. You need me, and I will always be at your side. Because it will be hard for me to say these words face to face, I want you to know that Mother may have given me life, but you taught me how to live. Love and respect your son, Damien." And he just reads that, and it's like, when I'm reading it, like, I'm crying too, right? Like, damn. Crying too. Like, damn. And he sees that and he's raging. He starts punching shit. He's bleeding. And he just hugs Robin's clothes, the clothes that, well, he had to take off his son so he could bury. Because Robin's dead. And he's not coming back. His son is dead. Now we get to the actual 5 Stage Grief part. Batman and Red Robin. Where, so Batman's like, now you might be thinking, death in comics doesn't really stick. And you're thinking right, because that shit never really does stick, right? And that's what Batman's thinking. He's like, Jason came back to life, Superman came back to life, Barry Allen came back to life. Why can't my son come back to life? So he's like, Frankenstein, how'd you come back to life? So he kidnaps Frankenstein and experiments on him, or tries to try and resurrect Damien. He's in denial. He's like, he can't be dead for long. Like, he needs to come back, right? And he's just like, this entire time he's raging. He's like Frankenstein's like, what you're doing is like, what you're trying to do is like unholy, right? You can't like resurrect people from the dead. And he's mad. He's like, man, like my son was killed basically by his own mom, right? Like, that's unholy. Like, that isn't fair. I'm doing what a father would do in my situation. Like, I failed my son, and basically Tim finds him and basically stops him. He's like, bro, you shouldn't be doing this, right? And obviously, like, Bruce isn't happy about that, but it needs to be done, right? Tim's like, you need to understand, like, this isn't what you should be doing. And he's not seeing it, but it's Nile with Red Robin. Now, we go to anger. Now, this is probably my favorite one of these. This is really messed up him, right? So now he surfs through denial. He's on to anger, right? He needs something to take his anger off of, right? So remember how I mentioned, like, Leviathan? It was a group, like the group that killed him, right? And their members were located in Ethiopia, right? So he's like, okay, these people had a hand in killing my son. Now I need to find them and bring them to justice, right? And he's like, you know what? Let me call up Jason Todd. Let me call up my other son, Jason, and bring him along with me. So calls up Jason. He's like, Jason, for old time's sake, let's run up on a little mission together. And Jason's like, okay, let's do it. And he's like, why are you asking me to go with you? And I'm like, bro, I'll quote you what he says. He says, because I'm seeing red. He's angry. He wants these people brought to justice, right? It just happens that where they're going is Ethiopia. Now, why is that important? I'll tell you. Because this is like a little double plan, right? He wanted to stop the people responsible for his death, which is fair, but also he wanted to bring Jason back to where he died, so he could try to like ask him how he came back to life, right? Because I don't think he knows that it was Superboy Prime that brought him back to life. So he's like, okay, well, we're here at your dead. Like, he literally brings him to his dead spot, and he's like, tell me how you came back to life. And Jason's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You're insane. You brought me back to where I died, like to like a place I've been trying to forget, and you asked this of me, and and it eventually leads to a fight, right? Because Bruce is like, I want my son back. I want my son back, right? Tell me. And he starts like, and he's trying to like go him into a fight, right? And they end up doing like, trading a little bit of like blows back and forth, right? But that's what he wanted, right? Because he's like, fight me, right? He's like, hit me, like I trained you better than that, like hit me. I want you to fight me, right? He just wants somebody to fight. He wants somebody to like punch. He just needs like something to like take his anger out on, right? And then Jason is like, you know what? I'll indulge you for a little bit, and then the tree blows, and Bruce is like, I'm still saying, Jason, and Jason realized that like this is just part of his grief, right? He's grieving, and he's like, all right, I'm gone, bro. Like I'm taking the car. He takes the car. You know, if I were Bruce, I'd be more upset the fact that he took my car. I'd be like, damn, like how am I supposed to go home now? But he takes the car, and Bruce is left where, he's left where his other son died, and he's just like, damn, you know. So that's anger with the Red Hood. Now, bargaining, Barbara Gordon. So, we've sourced the anger, right? He's still angry. He's being a little more aggressive on Gotham's criminals as usual, right? I kind of want to skip this part because like I like it, but it's not like much to really talk about, other than the fact that he's being more aggressive to criminals as a result of Damien dying. Anger, and he's taking out on them, and people say that like Barbara sees that, right? Like she even says that like like she stopped wearing the bat on her costume. I mean, okay, like okay, stop being. What would you call her at that point? But it doesn't matter. But he's being extra aggressive, and the bargaining actually it doesn't come from Bruce actually, because we've already seen him try to bargain like through Frankenstein, like trying to find out how he came back to life, and like also with Jason. But the bargain comes from Barbara. She literally offers to be Robin. She's like, this is upsetting you, like, and we can't bring Damien back to life, but we could like at least, bring Robin back to life. So like like literally, she steals his costume, and like, she's like, you know, she's asking to be Robin, which I found kind of messed up. Like you're just gonna take that kid's costume and like shove it in the father's face, and then just like ask yourself to be Robin. But that's what she does, and obviously, she's not Robin. She doesn't become Robin, but she bargains with Bruce, and he's like, he's still mad, right? Like they're screaming at each other, or she doesn't steal it. My bad. She like literally like she asks him, and then he's like, damn, you know, and he tells her to get out, right? He's like, get out, screams at her, and then through the broken glass of the Robin costume cage, he sees his reflection. He's like, damn, this is what this is what's happening, right? And that's where we segue into depression or Catwoman. Yo, his son died. He's depressed. He's been through bargaining, been through anger, been through denial. Now it's depression, right? Pretty sad because son's sad occasion. Also, there's like this little subplot with Carrie Kelly, and like every time I just skip through it because like I don't really care about Carrie Kelly. Maybe she's cool and all, but I just don't care about her in my Batman and Robin comic. Batman and Robin, Bruce Wayne and Damian Wayne comic. Maybe if there was a Dark Knight Returns and Robin comic with her, I care, but as for now, not really. You know, now he encounters Catwoman, right? He's like, I don't have time for games. What do you want, right? And she's like, come do this mission with her, right? And he's like, why? Because he's pretty upset. His son just died recently, and around this, she's like, okay, whatever. Like, so he agrees eventually, right? And so they go on this mission, and they obviously stop bad guys, right? But what he doesn't know is like, you know, like they were supposed to rescue an asset, right? But what he doesn't know is the asset was actually like a 5-year-old girl, right? And like she knew like what she was doing, right? Because rescuing this girl, like doing good like that, it made him feel good, because like the girl like looked up to him, right? And he was like, "You're safe now, right? Like you're safe." and that, like, it brought him out of his like temporary spur of depression. Like helping a child like that, like saving a child when he couldn't save his own, made him happy, than he was. So issue ends off with Bruce, Catwoman, and the little girl flying. He's like, "You're safe now." He's smiling. First time he smiled the entire time, probably. Which brings us to the final stage, acceptance with Nightwing, right? It's kind of makes sense that Nightwing is like the one to like help him accept things. But the issue basically starts off with, so Bruce has this device that lets him do simulations, right? And he's been looking at simulations 4 days straight of how you could like possibly save Damien, right? Because he's grieving, like he's 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 in this horrible space, right? And Nightwing's like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna join him, right? So they go in, they save Damien, right? And then he's like, because right now, like, he blames himself for his death, because if he was never Batman, this would never happen. But Dick is like, if you were never Batman, you never had Damien, and he basically just like tells Bruce that like Damien knew the risks, like, when he actually went and did what he did. Like he knew the possibilities of dying, and he's dead, and that's not changing. And he can't just like let his grief like destroy him. He needs to, like, just like how he turned the death of his parents into like, I want to say a yeah, positive. Like like he turned that pain into like a purpose, right? He's like, you need to do the same for Damien's death, right? Like use his death. You don't have to like get over it, but like or move on. But like use this pain and turn it into purpose. And that finally gets to Bruce, right? And he's like, all right, shut down the machine. It's done, right? He shuts down the machine, goes up a dick. It's probably my favorite. So he's like starting to accept things, right? It's probably my favorite part of the entire little like arc, when they leave Alfred stays, right? You need to realize, right? Remember, Damien was grounded during this whole like Leviathan thing, right? He wasn't really allowed to like leave, right? They were like, "Dangerous, stay put," right? But he kind of snuck out, right? And like Alfred basically let him leave, right? So Alfred feels this like type of guilt for him, like being responsible for Damien's death, right? So Alfred puts on the simulation thing, right? He's simulating himself stopping Damien from leaving the cave, and Bruce sees that, right? He's like, sees that, and then that's when he realizes that like he's been kind of like a little selfish, right? He was the only one that lost somebody. He lost a son, but Alfred lost like a grandson. Like Damien lost a brother. They all lost somebody. And the way he's been handling things isn't right. So they they cry together. He's like, I see your pain, Alfred. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I've been selfish. Like, we both lost somebody important to us. And so they shut down the machine, cry together, and mourn the death of a son. Until Damien comes back. Now, it's comics, so it never sticks. So I should have expected it. But I did like the aspect of Batman and the 5 stages of grief, I thought it was nice until, I mean, it wasn't reversed, but like, come on, like it kind of like diminishes it when they come back to life. But it's comics. Now, I really enjoyed it. I feel like a lot of people, I mean, as I said, like they think Batman's just like stoic ass dude, and it's like he's not. He's a really emotional guy, and a lot of stories not portray him as anything but. So it's nice to see like a story like this where like it really like gets and understands the character of Batman. All right, appreciate you guys watching and staying this far if you did. First video, no script, kind of bad, but we'll get better.